How will the Harris administration differ from the Biden administration?
Yeah, I think they did a lot of great work together. I'm here with Joe Biden's hometown, and I'm going to talk about that. Coming out of COVID as a governor, I know what they've done. They've moved forward, but there's more work to be done.
Why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
Because I believe in democracy in the United States.
What does that mean?
I want to have a right to vote.
Okay. What do you think? What has the best thing she has done for our country?
It's hard to say.
What is one reason or policy that you support of hers?
Okay. She is not Donald Trump.
But
And I am opposed to fascism. So
Me too.
That's why I'm supporting Kamala Harris.
You saw that article where they said that Trump is Hitler yesterday?
I did, yes.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's I can't believe that his granddaughter is Jewish. Can you tell me a policy that you like? There's so many, it's so hard to think.
Of Kamala Harris?
Yeah. Well, not of Trump, right?
Well,
There's
no,
everything he
no.
puts out is bad.
Understood. Yeah. Sorry. It's just okay.
It's important, though, that we do not go back to the horrible policies under President Trump. Reproductive freedom, the economy, freedom in terms of women's rights to choose. All those type of things are certainly key issues throughout the country.
All right, guys, so we got to react to this pretty funny interview on CNBC featuring Joe Kernen and New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who is going to humiliate himself on national television after being unable to name any Kamala Harris policy that he liked, right? What's your favorite Kamala Harris policy? Now, it's funny because when you ask people in the street, the normies, about why they support Kamala Harris is always the same thing. Abortion, 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 and hatred of Trump, right? But you would expect a Democrat to actually name specific policies and proposals from Kamala Harris that they like and real reasons why they support her outside of Trump, right? However, this governor is going to be unable to do so, or at the very least, it seems like he doesn't really want to say in this interview with Joe Kernen. And I find this exchange to be hilarious. So without further ado, let's get into it.
You like Kamala Harris, not just against. So what are, let me ask you, do you believe we should abolish the filibuster? And you can answer after I do it. How about getting rid of private insurance? How about taxing unrealized gains? How about nationalizing energy? How about mandatory gun buybacks like Australia? How about decriminalizing illegal crossings, ending cash bail, child gender reassignment surgery being paid for in prison? I mean, what are your, raising the corporate tax rate, what are your favorite proposals from Kamala Harris that make you like her so much? Which of
Joe,
those
for a Jersey guy, you sound like you're on the Trump campaign, for crying out loud. Come on, man.
Okay, well, which of those
you're
do you like?
cherry-picking stuff.
Which of those do you like? Which of those do you like? Which of those are you in? Are you in favor of ending the filibuster? We'll go one by one.
Yeah.
Are you?
It is. I'm not sure on the filibuster, honestly, but I think getting
so
fair
you're not
tax,
talk about any
tax rates makes
specifics
sense.
of what's that?
I said I think fair tax policy is
What does that
sensible.
mean, fair? What does that mean, fair?
Fair means you pay what you should pay.
Well, you know I live in your state, Governor. Do you think if I pay 55% total, is that fair for me, or do I need to pay 80%? What would be fair for you? Because I live in your state.
I know, Joe, I said that up front. Believe me, I know you do. But you sound like you're on the Trump campaign.
Wow. This guy is accusing Joe Kernen of being on the Trump campaign, which, I mean, I think Joe Kernen actually is straight up like supporting Trump at this point, which, hey, on CNBC, you need a voice of reason, right? A voice of balance, because the rest of the panel definitely is pro-Kamala. But with that being said, I don't think Joe Kernen asked him anything that's unfair. He named a bunch of proposals and policies that Kamala Harris has put out there. Now, we don't know what she actually supports because she hasn't explained why she said these things before in the past and whether or not she's changed her positions and why, right? She hasn't really explained these things thoroughly. So we really don't know. Okay, we really don't know what she believes. So the list of policies and proposals that Joe Kernen put out there is not unreasonable. Okay, it's not cherry picking. These are things that Kamala Harris has said and has not thoroughly explained why or if she's changed her position, right? I mean, she may say that, oh, well, I don't support banning fracking anymore, but she hasn't explained why, right? So we really don't know. Okay, that's my point. So one of the things that Joe Kernen brought up here that I think is interesting, and every Democrat should be asked about this, is the filibuster. Because Kamala Harris has come out here and said, at least when it comes to restoring Roe, she's willing to carve out a filibuster exception, which means get rid of the filibuster in order to codify Roe v. Wade into law, which ultimately may prove to be impossible to do because the Supreme Court likely is going to shoot it down. But Kamala Harris saying that is a big deal because it shows that she does have a plan for a radical agenda if she's elected, okay? And this is why it's so dangerous that nobody knows what she actually believes, because we know the radical things she said before in the past and the things that she's willing to commit to now in the present. The radicalism of repealing the filibuster suggests that maybe, just maybe, there's some other things that she wants to do, right? Her actual core socialist beliefs. These are things that she claims her values haven't changed and that she still believes in these things, right? So when you talk about the border, when you talk about immigration, when you talk about all these things that the American people are concerned about, I would not trust a word that comes out of Kamala Harris's mouth in regards to her promises to secure the border, right? Because she doesn't want to secure the border. They opened up the border on purpose under the Biden administration. And the only reason they have even tried to do anything via executive orders and executive action is to win the election. Okay, because on certain issues like abortion, where she hasn't done the flip-flop, she's a radical. She's an extremist. She doesn't believe in any limits. Okay, and she wants to get rid of the filibuster in order to essentially override the states. Okay, now, again, when it comes to the border, the only reason she has changed her opinion or evolved on the issue is for political reasons. When it comes to abortion, though, which is something she hasn't evolved on, well, it's because that is perfectly acceptable to be a radical on abortion in 2024, right? Unfortunately, in this country, okay, it is politically acceptable to believe there should be no limits at all, and women should just be allowed to get abortions whenever, right? For whatever reason, doesn't matter, okay? So what happens when she gets elected? When she's no longer running for re-election, do you think that all of a sudden she now is going to remain a moderate on the border? No. She's going to go back to being an extremist. They're going to open the border right back up and continue on with the plan like they were doing under the Biden administration. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's no doubt. This is why guys like him can't commit to any specific policies that he likes from Kamala Harris, because ultimately in the day, they don't want you to know their real agenda. They don't want you to know their real agenda. And, you know, Mark Cuban, who's a surrogate for Kamala Harris, he comes out here and he says, oh, no, Kamala, what she says in public, that's not what she actually believes, right? Like, she doesn't actually believe in an unrealized capital gains tax. She tells me what she really believes behind closed doors, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. Ain't it funny how that works? These people are lying to you, okay? They're lying.
No,
I don't know what the right number is, but
go ahead, Andrew.
Well, no, I was going to say what I think is potentially unfair. Is I think that there's a number of things. There are a number of issues that were embedded in those questions of the governor just now.
He didn't answer a single one about what he's in favor of.
Well, but I think there were a number of those things that she's not in favor of. And that's
Joe,
the point.
hold on a second.
She's on the record on every one of these things.
Governor?
Andrew.
Many years ago.
Governor?
Guys, hold on a second. We passed a millionaire's tax 5 years ago. Everybody, Joe, including you, said it would drive people out of New Jersey. We have more millionaires today than we've ever had in our history. So tax fairness isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Tax fairness. Tax fairness. Now, he hasn't defined exactly what that means, right? They can't really tell you, okay, well, what's a fair rate, right? What's a fair rate for the so-called rich to pay, right? Is it 80%, 90%? Who knows, okay? Because, you know, in some of these states, they're paying 55, 60, 70%, which, by the way, hey, you know, I don't necessarily have a problem with liberal millionaires being taxed out of existence, right? If that's what they want, right? If they're cool with that, that's on them. But we're talking about the nation as a whole. When you talk about extending those policies to the rest of the country, yeah, that's a problem, right? right? That's a big problem. I don't want to turn the rest of the United States into these blue states, right? New Jersey, New York, right? California, any of these places that have these millionaire taxes. Nah, that's not what I want, right? I like my states like North Carolina, like Tennessee, like South Carolina, like Florida, where, at least in Florida, you don't have any state tax at all, but I'm saying where taxes are low, okay? Where I can keep my own money. That's what I like. I don't like tax fairness, right? That's not what I'm about. But again, these people can't answer any specifics about, well, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? What rate do you believe is the fair share?
We have a very progressive tax system. Do you think we have a progressive tax system in the United States? Do you think it's not progressive enough, or are you talking about billionaires? I'm not sure because you know how much the 1% does pay the lion's share of taxes, 40%? Of federal taxes. So what does fair mean?
Color me open-minded. How's that?
I'm sorry?
I'm open-minded. I've obviously voted with my feet. We have a millionaire's tax in New Jersey.
Would you tax unrealized gains?
We're not a low-cost state to live in, but we give you an enormous amount back for what you pay.
Are you in favor of taxing unrealized gains?
But she has not made that
not
argument.
She's made the argument. She says she doesn't want to. Go ahead, Governor.
No, I'm saying I'm not wild about on unrealized gains, but I'm
what are you wild about? What are you wild about? Not Trump?
Here's what I'm wild about. I'm wild about a democracy that works. I'm wild about the rich history of our country continuing for the future. I'm wild about opponents having a voice and having a seat at the table, as opposed to being thrown in jail or hunted down by our military. That's what I'm wild about.
What is that like? What does any of this really mean? Right? It's a simple question. What policies of Kamala Harris are you wild about? Oh, well, I'm wild about democracy, right? What does that mean? Listen to these people. He can't tell you anything that he's excited about that Kamala Harris is supposed to do. If this dude, who's a Democrat governor, cannot tell you one specific thing that he's excited about that Kamala Harris is going to do, what does that say about Kamala Harris? What does that say about her agenda? I need people to use their brains. Listen to these people talk. Just listen to him. He's been asked multiple times. He's had 3.5 minutes to come up with something, one thing about Kamala Harris's agenda that he likes. Well, I like tax fairness. Okay, well, what does that mean, though? Right? What does that mean? That's a platitude. That's empty. That you're not saying anything. Well, I don't know. I can't tell you a rate. This is wild. This is wild. But this is the Democrat Party, guys. This is the modern day Democrat Party. Vote for us because Trump bad, right? And here's a bunch of empty platitudes and word salads that don't mean anything. And we can't really tell you what we want to do. Don't worry about what we want to do, though. In fact, if you worry about what we want to do, then you're trying to hold us to a higher standard than Hitler. And that's bad, right? That's bad to hold us to a higher standard than Hitler, okay? And if you disagree with us, then you're a Nazi supporter. That's the Democrat Party in a nutshell. And you're seeing that on display right here. You're seeing it on display. This is shameful.
But we might throw Trump in jail. The Justice Department was not weaponized under Trump. It's been weaponized under the current administration, right?
I mean, Joe, come on. You got to be kidding me.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen Trump. I haven't seen Trump throw anyone in jail, but I have seen a lot of lawfare against Trump.
There's no rational viewer right now watching this discussion that thinks that Harris is the authoritarian threat versus Trump.
Who tried to force experimental vaccines into people's arms? Was that Trump or Kamala? That was Kamala and Joe Biden. Who routinely ignored the Supreme Court? Was that Trump or Kamala? That was Kamala, right? And Joe Biden, okay? Who tried to censor free speech by pressuring social media platforms to take down so-called misinformation, disinformation that they didn't like? That was Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, right? So again, these people saying that there's not a rational viewer that believes that Kamala Harris is the authoritarian threat is actually an irrational statement, right? Because if you actually look at what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done versus what they claim that Trump is going to try to do, but he didn't do in his first administration, the choice is clear in regards to who to vote for if you want to vote against autocracy and authoritarianism, right? You vote for Trump, okay, if you're against those things. But if you're for those things, then you vote for Kamala Harris.
There's no one who's reasonable who comes down in that conclusion. How could you?
You just look around. I mean, you want me to go over the 5 cases that we're talking about? Alvin Bragg, you want me to? Those were all misdemeanors trumped up to felonies after the statute of limitations. You don't think that's lawfare?
Alvin Bragg doesn't work for Kamala Harris, and you and I both know that.
Okay, I'm talking about if either candidate is in danger of using the Justice Department to punish his enemies. What we've seen recently is not from Trump doing it. It's from, I mean, you might. What is there some reason you think that's going to happen with him? It's his rhetoric.
Joe, I'm having a hard time believing we're having this conversation. Are you kidding me? Did you see what happened on Sunday in Madison Square Garden? Have you followed what he said about what he's going to do against his enemies?
What Joe Biden said last night that all the Trump supporters are garbage, and that wasn't a joke. That was the president, sitting president of the United States, and that wasn't some comedian that no one knew what he was going to say. That was Biden himself. You saw? Did you see that? Trump supporters are garbage.
I saw it, and he said specifically it was about the people who were in Madison Square Garden, and you and I both know that that's what he said.
So they were garbage. Okay.
Yeah, that's not helping, right? It was about the people that was in Madison Square Garden, which would include all of the Trump supporters who attended the rally. Again, these people, they telling themselves, right? They telling themselves, even when they try to clean it up, they telling themselves, well, he wasn't talking about Trump supporters across the whole country. No, just the Trump supporters in Madison Square Garden, right? Oh, we didn't call Trump supporters Nazis. We just said that they support Nazis. They're Nazi sympathizers, not a Nazi. Wow. So you seen that, you heard that, okay? A sitting governor can't tell you what he likes about Kamala Harris and her agenda. No different than asking some random liberal on the street, okay? The only thing they like about Kamala Harris is that she's not Trump, and that's it, right? And this time around, I just don't think that's going to be enough to get Kamala Harris over the finish line, but we'll see. This is essentially what her whole campaign is based off of, evidenced by the fact that even a sitting Democrat governor can't tell you anything that he actually likes about her agenda. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.